Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here.
Yeah, we just actually had that conversation in our coaches meeting last week about I was asking them, my assistants, am I moving too fast or am I moving too slow? Is it a good pace?
Question.
Just asking those guys about that, because I'm like, do we need to teach a little more of the smallest, simplest things? Because we have an older group. We don't have any freshmen. So it's almost like we expect them to know some things that they don't, but we still need to rep it. And one of my assistant coaches said, we need to practice our post feeds, faking high and throwing low. And we talking about 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old guys.
But they should be good at that.
They don't know. If they haven't repped it, then it's our responsibility to make sure we get that done, So I think that's part of the process, understanding not to expect them to know things that we haven't taught, even if we feel like it's something they should know, So
that's another great question, man. Like you've really kind of blown me away by the three things that you've been focusing on: reacting, responding, being too patient over holding them accountable, and then asking that question to your assistant coaches: am I moving too fast or too slow? Coach, I just think that it's super valuable to get others' opinions in that. And I actually had my assistant coach the other day make the same comment to me about, I think we need to go a little slower. He said we need to go a little bit slower with how we're installing our flow and some of the terminology and some of the movements that we do. And in my head, I was thinking, but the danger is I've taken last year's workouts and I'm copying and pasting them, making little adjustments. But if I'm not careful, I'm going to assume that this group is just like that group. And most teams are different. And every year, Chris Hill at Jesuit said, you have to start fresh and act like this is a brand new group, even if you have older players, especially in your boat where, like, if they graduated from Grapevine Faith, Coach, they've never done a post feed. So they don't know how to do that. Coach is an idiot or shot ready, but if you need to throw it in. But I think, man, that question of moving too fast or too slow, how do you gauge, or maybe within that conversation, how do you gauge whether you're moving too fast or too slow with a group?
I think if the majority has it and understand it, then I think it's at a good pace. And I ask some of the returners already. I ask them the same questions. I try to get feedback from the players, because we can't move on to the next thing unless the team understand what we're trying to do with that, as we build in a system with the most simplest things. So I ask the players. I ask the players that I trust, the guys that are doing the right things, mostly the returners. I ask them, do you think I'm moving too fast or too slow? And I mean, so far I've gotten that, coach is a perfect pace right now. And I'll ask them, can we add something else tomorrow? Because I'm ready to add something else. Are you guys ready? And they say yes. Or they say no, and I'll say, we'll work. We need to rep this again. We'll do it. So
I'll go ahead.
No, when we're having that conversation, I kind of, go ask the players, because we all kind of on the same pages as coaches, but, everyone else sees something different than I see. Everyone else. And then I watch film. I watch our practice film too, to kind of see, and like, okay, are we moving the ball the way we practicing? Are we posting the way we practice posting? Are we splitting the corners the way we're practicing? Are we applying it when we're going live? And I think I use that as a tool too.
Man, the really good combination there of asking your players what they see. I mean, Matt Garnett, and you already mentioned Coach G earlier, but Matt Garnett, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in Texas, said that players have to do what they see. And I think sometimes we need to ask them what they see and what they feel out there, because you're closer to playing than I am. But sometimes I know what I see or what I'm thinking, the thought of, man, I could have done that. If I was in that spot, I could. Well, first of all, maybe not, but you don't know. And it's a dangerous thing to go by of what us on the sideline, what we see. And that's why even in a game situation where if a guy's open down the floor, I may yell up it, but I'm not going to freak out if they don't, because I'm trusting the ball handler to do what he sees. If he doesn't like that pass 100%, if he sees a defender, if he thinks that he's too close, I'm going to trust him in that time, and I'm going to respond instead of react right there in that moment. But I think you asking them that, it builds trust. It brings them, as they are major stakeholders in our program, it brings them into we're creating this mode instead of you just do what I'm telling you mode. I think that's really good, Coach.
Yeah. And I think I've learned that with the experience. You know, when I first came back from playing overseas right into coaching, I was that guy who's like, I would have did this. I would have
Give me the ball. Let me show you. Let me show you. And see, I can't do that anymore. If I try to show it, Coach, that's an injury. That's something happening. So I get that.
I'm not there yet.
All of this talk, though, about are we far enough along? Should we be farther ahead? Are we running out of time? I think a big danger, too, for us is comparison. With social media today, a lot of programs will let you in a little bit on what they're doing right now. Yeah, so some of my favorite colleges, I get to see what some of their workouts are like. And man, when I see Baylor guys kind of going through a bunch of stuff and looking strong and being fierce and looking sharp, now, obviously, I'm not comparing ourselves to them, but I could see that as another coach, or maybe even comparing what a team did last year or expectations of this year's group. But anytime that comparison or expectation game comes in, I think it adds to that stretch even more. How do you stay away from doing that?
Yeah, that definitely will add a lot more stress to you. I mean, even just in life, these guys use social media and they just add stress to themselves trying to live the life that they think other people are living. And for me, I mean, I think, like I said, everything comes with experience. I've going to TCU practices, and like you said, you see guys doing certain things, and you was just like, wow, like why we aren't at that pace yet. But then you gotta understand, they practice all summer. You know, this is not their first week of practice like it's ours. You know, we in week one. They spend 2 months in the summer doing these things. So I think just understanding my team, understanding my group, understanding myself, and not trying to be Jamie Dixon or anything, body like that. Like Coach Singleton, the main thing he told me, he said, "Be yourself. Do not be me." You know, Coach Garnett told me, "Be yourself. You're perfectly fine. Be yourself. Coach the way you coach." You know, Coach Singleton always said to me too. He always said that. Don't play coach. Don't play coach. Be Brian. Don't play coach. So I not take that as don't try to be someone else.
Everything that you've talked about, they question and they evaluate. They watch film after practice to really see what's going on. They don't care who's in the gym. They're just going to be themselves. They don't try to put on a show, but then they also do the work to make sure that they are competent and knowledgeable and they're getting better. So like if you were to go watch Jamie Dixon and come in the next day trying to be like him, that's playing coach. Don't play coach. That's not being real. I could hear Singleton saying that because he was, if anything, he was very authentic with like, this is what I know. This is who we are. And this is what we're going to do. I'm borrowing that. Don't play coach.
Like, don't play coach at all. Be yourself because he's always.
Yeah.
I would tell you, Coach Singleton was himself. He's always himself, no matter what. And I learned that, like, I have to be myself. You know, it works. If you try to pretend to be someone else in this age group, those guys are going to see right through you. They're going to see right through you. They're going to know you're not genuine.
Yep.
So it won't work. It won't work.
The most inspiring thing to me is authenticity. If I'm sitting in a crowd and I'm listening to a speaker and I feel like this dude's just being raw, real, not sharing too much to where, you cry every day. I think there's a point, right? One of my favorite, this has just popped in my head. One of my favorite pastors growing up was the guy named Pete Briscoe. He was at Bentry Bible Fellowship in Plano, Texas, and Carrollton, Texas. And he would from time to time get a little choked up and weepy when he preached, but it wasn't very often. And I was amazed at his ability to get choked up, but then snap right back into talking normal. And he told a story one time about his mom, both his parents were from England, and he tried to do it in this thick accent. And he said, "Mom, when I was first starting out, he said, Mom, I'm struggling. I cry a lot when I preach. Like I'm just getting really emotional and choked up." And she said, "Peter, that's okay. Just recover quickly." And I thought like, what a great idea, even for us. Like, we're going to be real. We're going to be vulnerable. We're going to be ourselves. And if it does go to that point where maybe you lose a little bit, just recover quickly. Sorry, Coach, just on that little story there. I'm not sure how it really connects to what we're talking about, but being yourself and being authentic and vulnerable.
Just talking about comparing, like
Yep.
you be yourself. You got
Yeah.
these young guys see right through you. You know, we were players before. We understand that. We see right through coaches if they're being authentic or not. We see right through them.
And you said something real quick early on, but I think is one of the best ways to connect with them and make them feel like, make them know that you really care about them, is those one-on-one meetings. And sometimes those one-on-one meetings can be because they're necessary. Johnny is struggling in practice right now, and it feels like he is fighting everything that we're doing. You need to have that one-on-one meeting, because addressing him only in front of the entire group, I don't know if that's really going to get at the heart of it. You're reacting. He's probably defensive. And so we got to do this one-on-one. But I also think some scheduled, but meetings where there is no agenda, where we're just coming in and we're just going to talk. I just want to see how you're doing. I don't have a plan here. I don't have something I'm trying to, because I feel like players always, when you meet with them, they feel like there's an agenda. All right, what is this really about? And when they leave thinking, man, that was about nothing. He just wanted to spend time with me. I think that's a good way to create this type of relationship you're talking about.
Yeah, the non-scheduled meetings are usually you get the most out of. It'd be like you said, you can see someone struggling. It'd be directly after practice. Like, hey, come to the office real quick. Everything all right? How you doing? How your classes going? Everything good at home? Like, you talk about everything but basketball, and I think they feel that and they know that you genuinely just weren't worried and concerned about them, and you see that they're struggling. And I think that those non-scheduled meetings are the ones that you get the most out of these guys. Because then the next day they come and I think they think about it. They think about, okay, I'm not going to have that same body language and that same energy I had yesterday. Like, I'm going to be better from that meeting, understanding that coach sees it. Coach sees it, you know? So I think the non-scheduled meetings are the ones you get the most out of.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.